Good evening, everyone. Could I ask you to all please stand for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's town board meeting. It is November 25th, 2025. First thing on our agenda is public hearing. First public hearing is on the preliminary 2026 budget. Before we get into that, just want to read a statement. Again, good evening and thank you for attending the 2026 budget. As we approach the 2026 fiscal year, I wanted to have an honest conversation about the economic realities facing our community. By now, we have all felt the effects of rising costs in our daily lives, whether it is in health insurance premiums, food at the grocery store, and our everyday escalating expenses. The town of Mount Pleasant is not exempt from this inflation. These economic pressures are beyond our control, and what we are facing now is not unique to our town. Communities across the region are facing similar sticker shock as they prepare their ledgers for the coming year. I have proposed a preliminary budget that includes a 9.3% increase for 2026. For the average home in Mount Pleasant, this represents an annual increase of approximately $218.25. This was a difficult decision, but a necessary one to balance our books and maintain the level of service that our residents expect and deserve. While the town's portion of your tax bill represents only about 12 to 14% of your total taxes, we recognize that every dollar counts in your household budget. Over the past years, we were able to keep tax increase to an absolute minimum by drawing upon a former $18 million reserve fund. This strategy shielded residents from immediate cost spikes, but it was a temporary measure to offset only by projected revenue sources. Today, that fund sits at approximately $8.6 million, and we no longer draw on this reserve to keep tax increases to a minimum. Keeping taxes stable has grown more difficult each year as the cost of every service we provide has increased significantly, much like the expenses we are experiencing in our own households. To mitigate these costs, we took immediate steps to restrict spending, directed every department head to identify and implement spending cuts, urged a halt to any non-essential year-end purchases, froze salaries for town managers and senior leadership, including elected officials. Throughout my 11 years as supervisor, my priority has always been maintaining and upgrading of our parks, buildings, vehicles, and equipment to ensure safe and efficient operations. We added personnel only when necessary, with an emphasis on public safety, senior services, and emergency services. We continually maintain and upgrade our roadways and undertook extensive work on our aging drainage infrastructure that in more recent years was impacted by extremely heavy storms out of our control. More importantly, we accomplished all this with minimal tax increases over the past 10 years. To be clear, about 70% of your total tax dollars go to the public schools. About 15% goes to Westchester County. Special districts such as fire, ambulance, water, and drainage will vary depending on your district. That's controlled outside of our budgets. The remainder is a town, 12 to 14%. And Noreen will explain when she goes into her presentation where these expenses go. Our proposed budget is designed to maintain Mount Pleasant as a safe, efficient, and desirable place to live. I welcome all residents' input as our town wrestles with the serious financial challenges that we all face. And thank you. We will be taking comments. We will be taking notes. Anyone who makes any suggestions will be recorded. And As you know, we have 2 more meetings regarding the budget. Nothing is being finalized tonight. So at this point, we will open the public hearing. Those who wish to speak on this town budget is welcome to do so at this time. I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, that would be nice.
Okay. Notice of public hearing by the Town Board of the Town of Mount Pleasant on the 2026 preliminary town budget. Please take notice that a public hearing on the annual preliminary budget of the Town of Mount Pleasant for the year 2026 will be held at a meeting of the Town Board to be held at the Town Hall located at 1 Town Hall Plaza, Valhalla, New York, on the 25th day of November at 7:00 p.m. During such public hearing on the 2026 preliminary budget, any person may be heard in favor of or against same as compiled, or for or against any item or items therein contained.
At this time, I would ask Noreen, our controller, to make a short presentation.
Good evening, Honorable Town Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. Thank you for having me here to discuss with you the 2026 preliminary budget. Just to introduce myself, my name is Noreen McGinty and I am the Town Controller. To provide a little bit of background, the town begins the budget process during the summer months. Supervisor Fulgenzi and I conduct meetings with all department heads to discuss their plans for the upcoming year and to review the status of the current year. From there, much time and effort is put into compiling the tentative budget, which is filed with the town clerk by October 30th. The town board is then presented with the tentative budget for review no later than November 10th. Once the town board has reviewed the tentative budget and any revisions are made, the preliminary budget is prepared and filed with the town clerk prior to the public hearing. Per New York State Office of the State Comptroller, the public hearing must be conducted on or before December 10th, and the budget must be adopted by December 20th. The town supervisor and town board typically schedule 2 public hearings to allow the public to have ample opportunity to ask any questions or voice any concerns. The preliminary budget is made available via the town's website and the town clerk's office. Based on the continual rising price of goods and services, it has been the goal of Supervisor Fulgenzi, the town board, and the department heads to sharpen our pencils and find ways to cut back on expenditures without reducing any services. As expected, a large portion of the town's budget is fixed expenditures such as salaries, benefits, and debt service payments. For reference, there's an estimated increase of 12.5% for health insurance costs and 20% for ERS, 36% for PFRS retirement costs. The town must also reflect the various special districts in its budget, for example, the fire protection districts, ambulance districts, and library districts, for which we have no control over. All factors considered, I believe Supervisor Fulgenzi, the town board, and all department heads have accomplished their goal of creating a lean but efficient budget. The town is presenting a 2026 preliminary budget of $68.2 million in total expenditures. This is $3.6 million more than the 2025 adopted budget of $64.6 million. The town is budgeting to use no fund balance in addition to budgeting conservatively for expected revenues. This would result in the 2026 tax levy to be $36 million, approximately $1.47 million more than the allowable levy of $34.5 million. This translates to an increase of less than $225 per household, or as Carl said, less than $220. For the upcoming year, the town will be taking a conservative approach to spending. We are not planning on borrowing money unless we absolutely have to, and will continue to search for grant funding to offset any budgeted expenditures. The town has completed a tremendous amount of improvements over the past several years, and it intends to continue to provide the same level of service going forward. Please keep in mind the town's tax only encompasses about 15% of your total tax bill. The remainder of your bill is made up of the school district and the county taxes, for which we have no control over. We just collect on behalf of. So I've prepared a slideshow just to kind of go through what the expenditures are, or a little more information. This right here, this slide just gives a breakdown of the increase dollar-wise and percentage-wise with regards to all the funds, highlighting the 3 main funds. So this just kind of shows for the general fund, which includes the villages, that there's roughly a $0.98 million or less than $1 million increase. For the general fund outside of Village, which is just strictly the town of Mount Pleasant residents, it's about 1.65 million is the increase. And then for the highway fund, which doesn't include the villages either, it's about a $20,000 or $200,000 increase. And then the rest is just through the various districts. These are some of our main revenue sources. Property taxes are a big one. Sales tax is also big, but that's contingent on the year, so we're not guaranteed a specific dollar value year over year. Building and alteration permits, that also is just depends on the year, depends on what building's going on in town. Recreation and pool revenues is also another big one. Again, contingent on the year, contingent on the programs, how successful they are, how much interest there is, how many people sign up for the pool. Mortgage tax, it's contingent on the area, the sales, how everything goes. And then AIM, which has been consistent from the state through many years, so that's only about $191,000. These are our main expenditures. Salaries are the big one. All our fixed costs primarily. Salaries, health insurance, retirement, and debt. So this is just a breakdown of approximately year over year what they are and what the changes are. And then this is a depiction, it's just a line graph to kind of show our fund balance, aka our savings account, what it's looked like over time. We had a nice spike in 22, 23. Unfortunately, like Carl said, in order to prevent increasing the tax rate or going over the cap, we dug into fund balance tremendously, and now we're looking to rebuild that. And this is just a super preliminary estimate of how much per where you live, how much roughly you're looking at with regards to the three main funds. The increase for a year from last year to this year for your taxes. The town outside, which is just the town portion, it's roughly $218.25. For Village of Sleepy Hollow, roughly $60.27. And then Village of Pleasantville is roughly $56.37. And that's based on what's considered the average, assessment of a house. So that can range up and down depending.
What is that number?
So for the town of Mount Pleasant portion, it's considered $911,000. For Sleepy Hollow, it's $865,000. And then for Pleasantville, it's $808,000. Just the average cost of homes nowadays. And then this is just a pie chart just to show exactly where your tax dollars are going. Unfortunately, we have one of the smaller portions of the pie. So the big lighter blue section, that's school. The orange part, the reddish orange color, is county, and then the dark blue is the town portion. So we have the smaller piece of the puzzle, unfortunately, and that's why we have to kind of just make do with whatever we collect in taxes. And that's pretty much all I had. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Marie. We open up the public hearing now for those who want to ask questions. Keeping notes.
Joe Soroselli, Valhalla resident, right, signed in. First thing I want to do is pay a compliment, right? Last year, just about a year ago, I raised two major issues in the budget meetings, and both were addressed, right? Both were addressed, right? One, I was very concerned about overtime and the retirement costs that are associated with it, right? And, unfortunately, it was post-action because the overtime had already been granted in the previous years, right? And we're seeing a 27% increase in retirement costs. It is something that has to be managed by the managers, right? Where overtime can be delegated to a person whose retirement doesn't include it, it should be. It shouldn't be given to the people where it does. So that was one thing. So dramatic decrease from 24 going on into 25, and then the 26 number is similar to the 25, but it's 1/3 of what it was in 24. All right, so that I give a compliment to that. Second thing which I did raise, and I still would like to explore it a little bit more, was the community liaison, and then subsequently Representative Saraceno actually explained what it was, which took me by surprise last year. Right, and subsequent to that, I did foil some information, and I asked for a couple of things, and it is amazing that there is no job description for a town board member. Right, doesn't exist. It, at least, and I went to the county based upon the advice of the town attorney. Right, I also went to the county to find out how you reallocate a budget item to something else. Hence, community liaison being a stipend to the board members. Well, there should have been a resolution that adopted that. That's per county code. Right? I don't know of a resolution if it was ever adopted. The positive part about it is in 2025, it was recognized as a stipend. All right? So that's important, right, to understand. But I still feel, and I did not foil it or anything else, but I would imagine almost that stipend was reported to each one of you as on your W-2s as salary. It's dramatically different. A stipend is a reimbursement for expenses above and beyond that are not covered by your job title. That's the definition of a stipend. You guys are stewards of our money, our tax dollars. And as a steward of our tax dollars, you're not supposed to self-deal, so you can't just give yourself a raise. You got to vote for it. It's in the budget this year, but it should be on a line. It should be, all right? The stipend.
budget, sir.
He's looking at the old budget. We have
No,
all
I'm-
gave up our stipends. None of us will be getting a stipend
Oh.
in 2026.
I thank you very.
You're looking at an old one.
It's
he
the one
doesn't
that
have
it's.
the updated
I
one.
printed it yesterday.
Yeah, no, it's in the
It's
one
in-
that I just got tonight.
Yeah,
It's been
it's in-
taken out.
There's
So
no
then
stipend.
then I'm very happy about it because and again, I pay you compliments. You listened to it. Now, the other parts of the, which I am concerning myself with is our credit rating. I agree wholeheartedly, from a financial standpoint, you don't want to create such a low reserve, right? But I do realize what took place last year, and I don't know if there's any more information. If you read through the notes and the final notes, and I have to say I definitely will not be here on December 9th, right? But if there is another meeting, because it was just referenced, there were going to be 2 additional meetings. The one on December 9th I am aware of. I don't know if there is another one, right? But I will be watching the Rockettes on December 9th, okay? So it's family time.
We will think of you. Thank you.
Oh, it will be this. Trees first, though. Trees at 6 o'clock, Rockettes are at 8 o'clock. Right? I'm unfortunately, I'm thought of a lot sometimes by the town board. Right? But that's okay. But I am very concerned with the overtime and the management part of the overtime. Right? I think it could be even more efficient, right, than it has been. Right? Different notes from the presentation. Last piece. If these slides that were just presented, if they can be made available on the website,
It will be.
okay, I thank you for that. All right, we talked, and this actually feeds right into you, which I was going to ask about, but you already said it. You are no longer taking the stipend. As you said, elected officials chipping in. I congratulate all of you on that.
There's no increases for management.
I've
Elected
gone through.
officials.
I've gone through it. I've gone through the budget. I understand it. The stipend was the piece. It's gone. It's gone. All right, on that side. The retirement cost was the other piece of the puzzle. While the, in quotes, the actual. Okay, there's my time. I was curious how much I had, but I thank you for it. I think again, pay a compliment. Last year you listened, and certain things did change. Can't ask for more than that. I do think, and I'm going to say this lastly, a major factor in last year's change in the budget from, in quotes, I forget, 5 or 6% down to staying at there, was the healthcare costs, right? Has anybody truly been, trying to communicate? And if the projected healthcare costs do come down, right, how late in the game can we change the budget? Right, that's a question that I would like to raise, or if it could be answered at some point in the game. Right, because that was in quotes the major factor for coming in under the cap. I thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, Dominic Vita, Hawthorne. Happy Thanksgiving, just to get that out of the way. The proposed 9.34% tax levy increase is a lot for many of us, especially without more explanation. Apologies, this was prepared before we got Noreen's and Supervisor Fulgenzi's explanation, although I will add that getting a little bit more information out to folks beforehand, before these meetings, would be really helpful, along with public information session for people to have real Q&A would be truly helpful. When we add in, so let me start again, sorry, it's less than 5 minutes, Darius. The proposed 9.34% tax levy increase is a lot for many of us, especially without more explanation. When we add in the 2 recent credit downgrades and the fact that the town's reserves keep shrinking, it raises real questions about how our money is being managed and about how much more expensive it may become to live here in the years ahead. I think residents deserve a clear explanation for a few things: why the town isn't living within its approved budgets, why the town has been running deficits, and why our reserves keep getting used up. Budgets aren't supposed to be symbolic. They're supposed to guide how money is actually spent. We need to know there's real oversight and real restraint when it comes to our tax dollars. Looking at the proposed 2026 budget, I think it's fair to ask the board to explain why going above the tax cap was truly unavoidable and what alternatives were considered, like cutting non-essential spending, spreading projects out over more years, or finding new revenue sources. It would also help if, whenever a budget line goes up significantly, the town explained what steps were taken to try to keep that increase lower. Knowing what was tried and why it wasn't enough would help residents understand the situation better. We should also know whether the town has a 3 to 5 year capital plan or if one will be created. Taxpayers need to see what projects are coming, how much they'll cost, and how the town plans to avoid more large, sudden tax increases in the future. Lastly, this may be a good time for the board to consider creating an ethics and oversight committee. A group like that could bring more transparency to how decisions are made and how money is spent. That kind of oversight would go a long way toward rebuilding trust and confidence, something many taxpayers feel has been slipping. Thank you.
Spend a lot of money on it.
Good evening, board members. I think I might have missed something in the 5-10 minutes that I arrived late, so I'm not entirely sure what the explanation was, but I did write up what I now analyzed about the town.
Can you just state your name? And
Jonathan
where you're
Goldsmith,
from?
Hawthorne.
Thank you.
Okay. So I was just wanted to start by asking a question. Does this board believe that the proposed budget is as accurate as it can be based on your current and historical knowledge?
Definitely.
So can you explain how the town expects to generate $6.5 million in new revenue in 2026?
Through taxes. We look at potential projects that could be, that we feel they're going to happen in '26. We incorporate that into the budget as a revenue stream to help offset taxes.
Okay. So I spent a lot of time looking at the historical budgets all the way back to 2017, and I noticed that the last time that we've actually met or exceeded our budget, our estimated revenue, was back in 2017. It was back in 2017. Since then, we have not actually met or exceeded our estimated revenues. Even with the projected revenues in 2025, even the projected revenues for this year, rather, it'll still be less than we estimated our revenues will be back in 2024. This seems to sort of be a trend. You know, if we look at the historical revenue growth since 2017, the largest year-over-year revenue growth as a percentage was back in 2019. This was an increase of just shy of 7%, but the estimated increase in revenue for 2026 is about 9%, exceeding the largest increase by a percentage over the past decade. Last year when I attended this budget meeting, the board assured us that this will be a year of belt tightening. Do you feel like the town tightened its belts?
Definitely have.
It has?
But just a point on the revenue, there's no guarantee. We project sales tax, mortgage tax, and projects. We project that what we believe is going to come in. There's no guarantees. We try to be conservative because you never know. Sales tax sometimes drops off. Mortgage tax dropped off considerably. So we have to, it's an estimate. It's no guarantees.
I'd like to give you this. This is the charted.
Yeah, we just projected
estimated.
it
Oh, you did?
on TV.
Over the past, since
Yeah.
2017?
We just
Yep.
presented
Okay.
that.
Yeah, every single year since 2018 or even 2017, actually, we have not hit those numbers. So I don't feel like these are conservative estimates,
No, I would,
right?
I would respect your advice, and how do you think you can precisely project monies that you don't know how they're coming in? How do you do that?
I think we should stay with an average estimate using average percent increases year over year, and
And like I
that's
said, we were
pretty close.
conservative also on the,
We're 9% this year. This is way higher than our average.
I didn't say we used an average.
So how was it estimated?
We try to project from what we previously had received. Or what we estimate maybe, we don't even know what sales tax is going to be to the end of this year. And we don't know what mortgage tax is. Projects, we have a fairly good idea what we're going to receive before the end of the year. Nothing's in concrete.
I understand that, but we have not hit our estimated revenues in almost 8 years,
I think we've exceeded it at different times.
not according to the budget history,
No.
right? We also spent $2.15 million more in expenses than we estimated in 2025, for the 2025 year. Does that feel like tightening the belt if we're spending more than what we estimate?
Well, if you were here when I read my statement in the beginning, I talked about some unexpected things that happened, such as road work and drainage work that's very unexpected. We had a considerable amount of drainage work that had to be done, no fault of our own, we don't control the weather. When you have excessive rains that wash out drainage throughout the town, you have to replace that. So that's an unexpected cost that we have to deal with.
I believe we've been having drainage problems for more than the last 2 years, because I believe this was
Whatever you
the answer we
think
got
is
last
right,
year
that's
as
fine.
well. I believe most people here have been saying that for the past decades, 3 decades, 4 decades, they've been drainage problems. This isn't unexpected, right?
It is
If it's been going on
unexpected.
for a very long time, is it unexpected?
Can you predict the weather?
I cannot predict the weather.
Okay. Neither can I, so I don't know when drainage work may get washed out.
Okay, so you're saying the work itself, not the drainage, solving the drainage problems that have been ongoing for the past decades.
Drainage problems will be on forever.
Okay, may I continue, or am I at time?
We try to be fair to everyone,
Okay.
you know.
So I will step outside.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome to submit any questions you have, you can email to us, and we'll incorporate that into what we're doing moving forward.
Okay. I mean, I think you still need to address the deficit, and I don't think this budget addresses the deficits.
I got that point. Anyone else like to address this? I wanted to give anybody else a chance. I'm trying to be fair.
Good evening. My name is Nick Wargo, Hawthorne resident. I just want to make 3 short points. I don't have any prepared materials, but there are things that I thought about, mostly anecdotal points. One is why I moved to Mount Pleasant. My wife and I moved here 8 years ago. We were actually both Pace residents, and in searching for a home around Westchester County, we looked for a place that was an easy commute to the city, because I work in the city, somewhere with good schools, low crime, and was affordable. And Mount Pleasant was the place for us. And recently we moved again within the town, choosing to stay here because we still believe in this town. 8 years ago, and even looking at properties again today, because I do deep research when I have to make any decision, even what shirt to wear. The Bears, in case you can't see a bear on here. Current events. So in looking again, we had the choice to move out of this town, and knowing what's been going on here and other towns in terms of all of those things, we chose to stay here because we still feel that this is a great town. So I just want to make that point. Second is I've been reading on our Facebook group page a lot of the commentary, and I have to say specifically to you, Jonathan, excellent analysis. But there are some other aspects there which may not be factored in, which, for instance, inflation. A note on inflation, our own Fed said inflation is transitory. I think you may all remember that from COVID, and they were wrong. So even when we put our best efforts forward, we can sometimes be wrong, especially in the projection of revenues and expenses. So that leads me to my third point, which is I think that in this town, there are a lot of really smart people, and we are a small community, and there are folks who may be able to help. And to that, I would say, as my boss once said to me, pick up a rock and join the fight. You don't have to be an elected official to help. You know, the folks sitting here, or the folks on Facebook, or just sitting in their homes wondering why, you can help. I've met most of the people here and a lot of people around town, and I think this is a great place to live. If this is a financial crisis and everyone's up in arms over it, well, pick up a rock and join the fight. Let's figure out a way as a town, not just these people up here, a way out of this. Because there's no superheroes here. You know, we have to sometimes figure out a way to do it together. I don't have an answer. We all have questions, but I know I don't have an answer, and I don't expect any one person to have an answer either. I think a lot of the concerns are warranted, and maybe some of the decisions could have been managed better, but that doesn't mean that we're in some terrible crisis. We just have to work together through this for a better tomorrow. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. If you mentioned surrounding communities, we did look at surrounding communities and the tax bases in surrounding communities, and if you look, you'll find that Mount Pleasant is probably the lowest in all your surrounding communities. Another point, you brought up Facebook, which I'm not a fan of. Somebody had put a misleading comment there that I raised taxes 21% last year. They don't know how to read the budget, obviously, because we were like 2-point-something% increase in taxes last year. So by putting misinformation out there, it's not fair to those who are trying to gain responsible information. That doesn't help. So I applaud people that want to put information out there that helps others, but not when they mislead people. Anyone else like to address the board? If you want to come back up, you're welcome to.
I'm Jonathan Goldsmith of Hawthorne, coming up again. Does this board know what the deficit for 2025 is projected to be?
We don't have all our numbers in yet, no.
I'm just saying the
Not an
projections
accurate
on
number.
the budget that's proposed.
The proposed 26 budget?
2026 budget proposal has the projections for 2025.
I understand what you're saying.
Estimated.
And we've been in long discussions about this, but This is not a Q&A of us right now. I'd like to hear what your opinions are.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so it's $4.47 million on the proposed budget. This year's projected deficit is the second highest of the decade, only second to the deficit in 2024. If we look at the average increases by percentage and we apply them to 2025's projected revenues, we can see that the proposed budget for 2026 outperforms historical trends by about $2 to $4 million on the revenue side. That's pretty significant in my opinion. And an average case increase on the expense side is about $1.2 to $2 million, more than what is listed on this budget. The feeling I have is that this is another deficit budget. We're going to be shy of what we have, and we're going to have a deficit in 2026 by somewhere between $1 million and $4 million. And I don't want to see that, because that's significant, right? We've been very fortunate that over the past, 7-8 years, we've had a significant town fund, right? We got up to $20 million or so, or over $20 million in 2022. And it's been appreciated that the town has been using that town fund to help offset some of the increases, since then. Last year when I asked this question, I said, how much money is supposed to be in the town fund? And I didn't get an answer for that. I was wondering if there's an answer today of how much money is supposed to be in the town fund, compared to our peers or compared to whatever the credit companies look at, like Moody's. What's that number supposed to be? Because I don't really know.
New York State Controller's Office recommends a certain percentage, but I don't know that offhand.
So do we have a number, or it's just?
It's as long as it's, I believe it's something along the lines of as long as it's enough to cover so much in bills for the next month, whatever it is.
Okay. Would it be possible to get that number? Because I think that's sort of important.
There's no number.
There's no
It just says as long as
estimate
it's
or
enough-
approximation or nothing?
As long as there's enough to cover bills for the next 2-3 months out, that's what
The recommendation is? Okay.
that's
So,
what was adopted way back when.
okay. So what is the bills for the next 2 to 3 months out? Would you happen to know?
Is what?
The amounts of bills for the next 2 to 3 months out. Do we have an idea of what that is?
That's of year end.
As of year end?
So we don't have to.
Okay. So we'll know in a month or so? Or a month and a half?
After the close of the years.
Okay.
The year that would be April, May.
Well, right now, looking at the projected fund balance, it looks like it's going to be about $4 million. And if these deficits continue, we're going to run out of money in the town fund.
Fund balance right now is eight.
That's not what it says on the proposed budget. It says about $4 million.
Do you have the latest budget, today's budget?
Has it changed again?
Yeah.
Is
We
there a reason
constantly
it's
made-
changed so significantly from
The total fund balance is 8.6.
for the end of the year?
Yes.
Yeah.
As of 12/31/2024. The numbers for the projected expenditures and revenues, that's projections that were made as of September. So they're not accurate by any stretch, and they're also super conservative. So that's not factoring in sales tax that we get in every year. That's not factoring in a lot of things that we don't know exactly when we get it. So those numbers are super, super low.
Okay, so it
The
sounds like,
latest- The latest town budget will be on the website tomorrow.
okay,
Because we are constantly looking at it, where we cut, where we save. That's what we're doing.
okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that there's a lot more money in the budget than I read in the previously proposed budget, because I believe it was much lower. However, that doesn't change the fact that the town budget overall has been in deficit since 2020, that the town has not exceeded its revenue estimates since 2018, that the town has exceeded its expense estimates every year since 2021. And my feeling is that if this trend is going to continue, which, year after year it seems to be continuing, we're going to have some sort of financial problem.
I don't believe that's accurate, but I will definitely look into it anyway.
Okay. I mean, I compiled the numbers and I put them on a nice little graph to
I know you're
show.
judging it by a budget that's not even completed yet.
Well, the past numbers have been completed, have they not?
The previous budget, yeah.
Yes, and so that's what it shows the trends.
But I would like to see what your...
These are your graphs?
Yeah, I took the
Can
numbers
we
from...
have them?
Of course.
Can you email them to us too?
Amanda will scan them and email them
It's
to us.
unfortunately not accurate because the number I used was apparently incorrect,
them.
so this one does not. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to address the board on the budget?
Hello, good evening. Yael, Sherman Avenue. I had a question specific to how the budget is being talked about on Facebook by board members. Is there any regulations about how board members interact with members on Facebook in terms of how the information is put out there and responding? I know from personal versus your elected Facebook pages. Is there regulations on that?
I don't recommend board members responding at all, but they do have a right to respond,
Right, no, absolutely.
especially where there's disinformation. I believe it should be corrected.
Right. No, I agree with that. I think information is important. I think everybody's allowed to have the First Amendment in terms of opinions and freedom of speech. I do wonder, there was a post that involved political parties and discussing political parties in a post that I saw, and I was sort of I thought, we elect you regardless of what your political party is involved in our community, right? And mentioning a political party was a little bit confusing to me, so I didn't know if there was any policies about that.
Well, it's probably a good idea to create one.
Yeah, we don't have one that I know of.
Yeah. Okay, is that something that can be put up for possible?
Yeah, I would recommend that.
Thank you.
Can you be more specific, please? Because I really am confused as to what you're directing your questions or your comments at.
A comment about interaction on social media between the board members and the community regarding political affiliation.
On a residence page, on what?
Yeah, on a resident local page.
And what was the comment, please?
I don't have it exactly memorized, but I do have a copy of it I could email you guys.
Okay, if you have difficulty with it, I believe you should address each one of us individually if it's something that we said. However, as the supervisor said, and as you said yourself, there is freedom of speech, and we, as well as being elected officials, are town residents.
Mm-hmm.
And I must say that at times there is disinformation on Facebook and other social media platforms. And like anyone who's involved in any kind of occupation or job or elected position, we do have additional information. Of course we do. Such as yourself as a social worker, myself as a nurse, we have different opinions and we have different information that we could respond. Okay? So I hope that makes it clear.
It does. I never mentioned I was a social worker, so I just said how you found out about that.
I believe that you've posted your services on one of the social media platforms.
Okay. Okay, interesting.
Okay.
But in terms of affiliation to a party and mentioning that affiliation, that's what I was asking about. Not about freedom of speech, just mentioning your political party as a stance into aspect of how it comes into as a board member. That's all I was asking, and I'm happy that you're kind of opening that up for a discussion for future recommendations.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, as you know,
Can I take one more minute? Sorry, I didn't hit my 5. That's okay. Dominic Vita, Hawthorne. The best way to combat misinformation and disinformation is to provide transparency and more information. We get that from you guys. We count on you guys for that. So I think based on my comments earlier and what you're saying tonight, if there are things out there that you don't like, the best way to combat that is to provide us with the information, detailed information.
I'm not going to use the town website to correct misinformation on Facebook. I don't think the two should work together.
Agreed. But providing, the town has a Facebook page, by the way. Providing information,
I'm aware of that.
yeah, providing information to people, providing a public information session with a Q&A for people to ask questions, not holding off on providing budget numbers until the final day that they can go out, which was November 19th, putting it out earlier, making sure people understand taxes are going up. We're all grown-ups here. But we all have to balance our budgets. We're in an affordability crisis. That's not made up. That's real. Everything is going up. We need to understand how affordable is it going to be in Mount Pleasant going forward, and how in control of that is our elected officials. That's what we need to know. That's the information we need, and that's how you combat misinformation out there. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, we are not closing this public hearing. It'll be continued on December 9th. Yeah.
Need a motion?
So this public hearing stays open, and again, any comments you wish to submit to the board that you could not get to tonight, you're welcome to do so, and we will incorporate that moving forward. It is not a final budget. We are still working on it. It may be close to final, but we don't know yet. But we're still waiting for some numbers from healthcare and for property and casualty insurance. So once we have all those numbers together, we will incorporate that into the final numbers.
The public can email us any of your suggestions, or do you think that are viable, that are helpful, that you think would improve the budget? That's important to get your feedback.
Yes.
I did pull up the budget, and the $8.6 million that I see that's referenced shows the total for 2024 at the end of the year, right? But then the column that says projected financial state fund balance is $4.1 million. Are we talking about the 2024 or the end of this year's projected fund balance?
We don't have a projected, we already said this before.
Yeah.
How can I project the end of this year when I don't know total revenues coming in?
I'm just curious to understand how much money is actually in the current fund right now.
Right now, there's $8.6 million,
So it's the same number as in 2024.
25,
That says 2024.
24 number.
What page you
Noreen,
on?
do you have any information on this?
It's a moving target. We don't have those numbers finalized. We wouldn't have them finalized after our auditors perform our audit.
I just want to know how much money is actually in the accounts.
Loaded question.
Right.
Money comes in, money goes out.
Right now, like,
That'll be changed
will
tomorrow.
be changed again? So there's no estimate or approximation, and we're only going to go off of the 2024 numbers and say that's what we currently have?
It's not, you can't intermingle funds for certain things. It's not an easy answer to that question.
I can't hear you, Marie.
Oh, I said there's no answer to that, because tomorrow we're paying checks. So we have payroll at the end of the week. It's a moving target. There's no clear answer to that.
It's an estimate.
It's-
specific for capital projects. There's not a number I can give.
You did a question? Sorry.
I think the same position I was here last year.
You should come up to the mic.
Nobody
You can
at,
come
nobody
up
at
if you
home
want.
could hear if you're talking from.
Yes, please come up and state
The-
your name, and if you have comments or questions, thank you, because we can't hear you from down there.
There you go. You could sign in after. Just state your name when you get up here.
My name is Marilyn Miller, and I live in Thornwood. Last year, I raised an issue of the fundamental premise is that the objective is to keep all the services and have something affordable. And we asked to have you look last year at telling us what it would take and what would the plan need to be and what services could be kept and are there any that would be taken away if we stayed under the cap. And we asked, we're not saying demanding that's what we have, but give us the perspective of whether we have the right objective, especially if we're consistently overestimating revenue and we are consistently now having our reserves come down and we are consistently having a lot of surprise work, unexpected work that you can't predict. So there's an awful lot of risk in these kind of financial plans when you have that many variables and so little control over them. So maybe it isn't as conservative as it needs to be to keep it affordable. And then when we hear more of these discussions and more concerns, I mean, I would renew that request that I think you do owe telling us what services, if the town and the people want to remain more affordable than we may be able to have if we keep everything the same, why shouldn't the town at least explore what it would take and what services could be removed to keep under, and then you can have a discussion about whether the services get removed or not. We asked for that last year. Fortunately, you came back and you met the target of staying under the cap, so we didn't get to it. But here we are now with more than double the numbers we were talking about last year in terms of going over the cap, and you still aren't answering that question. And I think that's an unfair thing to do to the people that want to know, can it be more affordable? There's very few things we can have some control over or some concessions on, and you're not exploring those, and I think you owe that to us.
That's a fair question, and I would like to be able to gather some services that we believe we could cut, and it's up to the public to decide whether they want those cut.
Terrific.
We could eliminate leaf pickup. We could eliminate.
Or maybe you don't
garbage pickup
eliminate
once.
them, you have a fee for the people that want them, and see, you know, it doesn't have to be an all or nothing.
It's a tax.
But I do think we have to look at it
It's
a little
not,
bit
it's not
different.
that simple to just pick up certain people and not pick up others.
Understand it,
Doesn't
understand.
work that way. In the corporate world, there's fixed costs,
Well, there's
and
a
it-
lot of variable ones too.
not as much as in town. We could have a road collapse.
Yes.
It costs millions of dollars. There's a lot of different things that affect the day-to-day operations of a town that are not the same as in the corporate world.
Correct, and that's why I'm suggesting maybe you know you have exposure of going over whatever you plan. So you have to cut lower so that you have a better chance of being able to handle the things that go over and surprise you.
Then if
Yeah.
you over-project, then you increase your budget. So
We could do that the following
Slippery
year.
slope.
We can do that, and, you know, this size of a budget increase, when you project it into all the other things that everybody is going through, you know, you can get nickeled and dimed to death here, and people are having to make decisions to leave and leave their homes, and, you know, let's just see if it's there, but not having that even considered isn't really fair. So I'm glad to see you'll consider that.
No, I definitely think it's a good idea to let people know what the possibility of cuts could be made, and see if that's something that's palatable with the community.
And if it's not, at least they'll know they understand what they're doing, instead of feeling like it's being shoved down their throats.
This tax, we don't want to shove anything down anybody's throat. We're all taxpayers up here. We all have our expenses too, like everybody else. My school tax went up $1,000, okay, which I have absolutely no control over. So that hurts.
Yep.
And it hurts everyone. People on fixed incomes, I don't know how they do it sometimes. So we are all very cognizant of everybody's expenses. This town board works very hard. When they look at a 9%, they're not happy about it. Believe me.
Well, let's just talk about what not exceeding would be, or only going up half as much as you're looking at, and see what that is, and see what's palatable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Supervisor, if I could have a minute, and I respect what you said, ma'am, because you came to us with, without emotion that was angry. I'll put it that way, okay, or accusatory, and I appreciate that. I've been here, this is my 12th year. I've been honored to be sitting here for 12 years, but never have I seen a town board work harder than this. We have struggled. We have struggled with, do we cut? Do we lay off? Do we change programs? And we come back to the same thing. We all live here. We like the quality that we're giving you. I'll take any kind of comments. Email me. One thing I would prefer is please don't accost me in ShopRite. I mean, it's a joke, but it's not. I don't like to have to be out in public and answer questions in regard, not yourself, but many people. I don't like to have to be accused on Facebook nor in the public, okay? I would ask that for all of us, we're always open to emails. That's the best way to get us, okay? And we do discuss every question that comes to us. Please know that. This is a very, very difficult time. This was a really hard budget, probably the hardest one that I've sat through, and I do have a history here of 12 years. Okay? As Noreen has stated, we're still waiting for some final numbers. The state of New York, the health insurance rate, the expenditures we have between September and December 31st. So, like anything, it's a working budget, but it's also a budget of $68 million for 45,000 people. That's a huge responsibility that we take very seriously. Yes, would we like to bring it down some percentage points? Yes. How? Please tell us how. How do we say to the employees, well, you're not getting anything this year? We've said that to management. We've said that to ourselves. We're cutting there. Do we say to you, maybe we won't have recycling anymore? How about no mulch pickup or no leaf pickup, or we won't plow snow? I mean, these are the things that the town does. If you go down to the Valhalla train station, right there on between the Taconic and the platform, there is, I guess it's called a manhole cover or something, or a cement block that states when the water system began in that area of town, 1902. That's an example of our aging infrastructure. So when the supervisor says we have drainage issues, and when we all look around and see some of the paper roads, and like on the side of my house, which is a private road, but yet people still need services, things are aging, things are changing. We have to respond to that. We have to go ahead and increase costs when we have to pave roads, because the prices have escalated in the last, I'd say, since 2020. Anyone here can realize that 2020 was a real punch in the gut for everything, corporate and government. So what I'm saying to you is I stand beside my colleagues here and with the supervisor. We have done the very best we can. We're still going to go at it. This is not the final. The final will come in a few weeks. Please send in your comments, and we will do the best we can to respond. Okay? Thank you.
I'm a nurse also, so.
Wonderful.
So I have a question.
Your
So
name,
when,
please?
oh, I'm sorry, Jean Halbauer. I'm live in Valhalla. Am I okay? Yeah. Okay. So when you guys have meet and you're going over the budget and trying to figure out where to cut, when not to cut, but the budget meetings that you guys have. I don't know a lot about finance. I don't understand it. I know what I do, but are we allowed to be present during some of those meetings?
You're allowed to be at a work session and listen to the conversation, but you can't be, there's no back and forth.
Oh yeah, no.
It's a challenge enough having 5 people look at a budget and offer their opinions.
Oh no,
Never mind.
trust me. I've been, I've worked in the Union Hospital, and I understand that because people get very worked up, and so during the sessions, it can be very challenging for even the people that are just present and listening. But that's okay. So, and how would you find out? How would I find out about when these meetings are? And where they are?
At the end of the meeting, I usually state when our upcoming meetings are.
Okay.
Our next-
I'm a little new to coming to these.
That's all right.
What? I'm
Our
sorry.
next work session is December 2nd, and the next business session, which will be out here, is December 9th.
Okay.
So the work sessions are the first and the third Tuesday of every month.
Okay.
And then the public is the second and the fourth in the supervisor's office is the work session, 7 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there be no further comments, I would entertain a motion, not a motion. We have no motion. We're continuing this public meeting to December 9th.
Motion, a motion to keep it open.
Do we need a motion
We need a motion.
You can make a motion to adjourn for December 9th.
to keep the public
Okay.
hearing open?
Resolution 43225 would be a motion to keep the public meeting open.
I'd like to make a motion to keep the public hearing open for the preliminary budget, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second?
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the public hearing to consider a local law authorizing the town to override the limit on the real property taxes that may be levied by the town for 2026. Again, we are not closing this, so this resolution will be to keep this meeting open until December 9th.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
I'll second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is public hearing to enter into contract with fire protection districts within the town of Mount Pleasant. Again, these are fire protection district contracts. We have no control over. They submit a number to us. We have to incorporate that into the budget. All we basically are doing is approving those to move forward. That's all we are doing. The only control you have on fire district budgets was to go to their fire district meetings and voice your opinion on those budgets. That's all you can do. But we have no personal control over it as a town board. Resolution 43425.
Public hearing on this, so if people want to comment on it, they can. Contracts have been available online. And they set forth where the fire protection will take place, and I believe the value for the year that will change every year when the budget's out. So
Yeah.
if anyone has any, if she can read the notice or any comments from the public.
Notice a public hearing by the town board of the town of Mount Pleasant to consider approval of various fire protection agreements. Please take notice that the town board of the town of Mount Pleasant, New York, shall conduct a public hearing at the town hall on the 25th day of November 2025 at 7 o'clock p.m. to consider approval of various agreements which would provide fire protection services for various town fire districts. More importantly, the town board will consider 9 agreements. More specifically, the town board will consider 9 agreements providing fire protection services to the below listed fire districts, with such services being provided by the fire district and/or municipalities listed below. Thornwood Fire Protection District Number 1, providing service.
You just read the
being
districts.
serviced by Thornwood Fire District. So which side? The left
You
or
just
right?
read the left side. That's the fire district requiring. It's all been published. You can read it. Just
Okay.
the left side if you want.
So the districts requiring services are Thornwood Fire Protection District Number 1, King Street Fire Protection District, Hardscrabble Fire Protection District, Mount Pleasant Number 7, South Hardscrabble, West Pleasantville Number 2, Bear Ridge, East Bear Ridge, and West Pleasantville Number 1. Please take further notice that at the public hearing to consider approval of the above listed agreements, an opportunity to be heard in regards thereto will then and there be given to those favoring approval of the agreements and also those opposed thereto.
Anybody wish to speak on these fire district agreements is welcome to do so. Again, we have no real control over it, but
Got to provide the service too.
public information, yes. We do have to provide it. Be there no speakers, I'll entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 44425 will be to pass this resolution. Need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mark,
I'll second. Thank you.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We had, just add 444. I can give 445.
You can adjust the numbers later, maybe. You can do it A or B if you want. Oh, you got them. Okay.
Amanda gave it to
Oh, you
us.
got them. Okay, good.
Yeah, I just have an old version.
Mr. Supervisor, should the managers stay at this time?
They don't have to stay if they don't like to.
But that's not for me to say, that's for you to say.
I appreciate department heads being here and other employees in the town being here. I appreciate your efforts being here. I didn't want to target you at any point and say that that's the reason why our taxes are what they are. We appreciate all the efforts you had all put into this because we know this was a difficult budget. We squeezed you all, and I appreciate all the efforts you all put into it to control this budget. But I don't want to put you through the pain of having to stay here for the rest of the process if you don't want to be here. But again, thank you for being here. All right, moving on to the supervisor's report. Purchase order number 122601. This is for the StarNet Emergency Services. This is for the basic life support, the fly cars you see running all over town. This is a budget that is given to the town every year to cover these services. I'm going to tell you, by district, Valhalla, the yearly expense is $342,038.32. For Pleasantville, it is $578,834.08. For Mount Pleasant West, $52,621.28. Hawthorne, $184,174.48. Sleepy Hollow, $157,863.64. Again, these are items that are added to the town budget. So Resolution 43525 will approve the agreement with StarNet.
Move for approval, please. May I just say, Mr. Supervisor, the total annual cost is $1,315,532. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion by Lori,
Second that, please.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is plan review. This is for Regeneron, I believe.
Yes.
Thank God for Regeneron. The review is by JHW Plan Review Services. Total cost is $2,200.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Danielle,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Just for information, project cost is $650,000. Building permit fee paid was $11,933. Next item is plan review for Kensico Preserve. JHW Plan Review Services. Total cost, $3,230. Project cost on this is $1,604,700, and the permit fee submitted was $29,189.60.
Move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to accept a blasting bond for Kensico Preserve. Let's see, cost on here. Blasting bond.
$500,000.
See any numbers?
$500,000.
$500,000.
500,000. That's for the bond. Resolution 43825 will be accept a blasting bond for Kensico site. I'm sorry, this is not Kensico Preserve. This is a DEP project over on Columbus Avenue.
Columbus Avenue, yes. So the bond is $500,000, so what we're voting on is to accept that bond. Is that correct, Mr. Supervisor?
That's correct.
Thank you. I'll move for approval, please.
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to appoint Nick Wargo to the Library Board of Trustees, effective January 1st, 2026. Mr. Wargo will serve the remainder of Richard Molina's 5-year term, which is set to expire April 10th, 2029.
Mr. Supervisor, that's my committee. I'd like to make a motion. Mr. Wargo is here this evening to appoint Nick Wargo to the Library Board. And Richard Molini was an incredible Library Board member. He was exceptional. Nick was at our last meeting, sitting in, getting a feel for some of his responsibilities, and we look forward to his service, and we thank him for stepping up. But like I said, a special thank you to Richard for his service. He did an exceptional job. So I make a motion to appoint Mr. Wargo to the Library Board, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Congratulations, Mr. Wargo.
Congratulations.
And thank you for being a resident who steps up to serve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right now, we have business from the floor. Anybody wish to address the board on any other topic is welcome to do so at this time.
Again, Jonathan Goldsmith from Hawthorne. I want to go a little bit back in time at this point to, I think, earlier this summer when we were talking about the BES ban. At that time, I had some concerns about the language in the ban, specifically that the language is overly broad and bans a lot of types of batteries that are used today in businesses and hospitals. I just wanted to see if that language has been amended to reflect that it's specifically banning BESS systems and not any type of battery outside of EV batteries, 12-volt car batteries, and like batteries in consumer electronic devices.
That was
not
not,
car batteries.
that was not the intent.
No.
I think there's a level.
That was the exception. That was the except. But there's other types of batteries that exist that are used in businesses and hospitals and lots of other places, like uninterruptible power supplies, which would technically be banned by the language that's written in that BES ban.
Okay, if you have some, take a look at the laws it is. If you have anything that you think should be carved out, I'm more than happy to look at it.
I think it would be potentially the other way around, where it's more of specifying what is a BESS instead of just making exemptions as a carve out.
There's a definition in there. I have to look at it, but I thought there was a carve out that said that certainly would apply to certain types of BESSs, if I recall.
And
but I don't have it in front of me.
There's also any of the uses that you mentioned that would want to supersede if the ban does ban them can still apply for a zoning variance. And that's sort of, I think, at least for me, that was my understanding of how I wanted it to be designed in a sense, until we know more about which level might be safe, might not be safe.
Well, these aren't even lithium batteries. I'm talking about like lead acid battery systems used by hospitals for when there's power outages or businesses to protect their servers. You probably even have UPSs in this building protecting whatever servers you have here, and they're technically banned. I mean, I sell a lot of
Doesn't
UPS
apply to
batteries.
government, but we'll take a look at it.
Right.
closer.
So I want to make sure we make those exemptions, or at least define what BESS is, as opposed to this blanket language which does ban these types of batteries. And I feel like the variances don't make sense when it's like, hey, I want to get a small battery from my home to power my home if there's a power outage or power a couple things like a Tesla battery wall, right?
Yeah, those are definitely exempted for the law now.
Yeah, we addressed it. That's
Definitely exempted. But
Yeah.
you got
Okay.
these power systems that are next to houses. You got to be careful with those. Those could be very dangerous. You got to keep them far away from the house. You can't put them too close to your neighbor's house. So
Of
we're going to
course.
look at that much closer. It's not that simple. Oh, I want a house battery and just do it.
Yeah.
Because it's got a lot of problems too.
Yeah, that's if you go with the lithium batteries, right? Sometimes you have a house
That was the
battery.
definition. I'll have to take a look at it.
Yeah, I would like to really look into that a bit more because I remember when I read it earlier in the year, it did not say that specifically.
I'll have to say, I'll have to admit, I don't think any five of you or myself or anyone is an expert on electric batteries, whatever they are, lithium batteries or non-lithium. So I think the board looked at it, stopped the big projects. No one has been prosecuted. No one has been stopped from home. But I think we did indicate we did want to look at it closer, and we will do that.
we did.
Okay, so should I reach out to you directly, Arias, or
You
someone
can
else?
send me an email, and I'll take a look at it again. I just haven't had time, but I will.
Would you have a business card that I could
And then I got
have?
to talk to Pat Cleary, who's our planner. I want to talk to our building inspector.
Can I
You
have
can
your,
just send me an email.
can I have your business card with your email?
If I have it. If not, I think it's online. Is it online?
If not, you could.
Yeah, I have.
Here's a card.
Thank you.
Yes, the meeting. Very much. You got it.
Anyone else wish to address the board in this? Moving on to our
Right.
town clerk's report.
Good evening, everyone. Town Clerk's Report, Town Board Meeting, November 25th, 2025. Bid opening for the 2026 sanitation bid. Public hearing for the preliminary 2026 budget. Public hearing to consider a local law authorizing the town to override the limit on the amount of taxes that may be levied for the year 2026. Public hearing to enter into contracts with the fire protection districts within the town of Mount Pleasant. Received and filed the new legal address for the DEP trailers, 20A Westlake Drive in Valhalla. Received and filed the notice of annual election on December 9th, 2025 for the following fire districts: Hawthorne, Newcastle, Pleasantville, Pecanico Hills, and Thornwood. And received and filed the adopted 2026 budget for the Hawthorne Fire District.
Thank you. Council reports, Councilman Celiano.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My report's the Controller's memo. The following claims are submitted for Town Board approval. From Justice Court, $260. From the category of engineer, $129.83. From Building Town Hall, $129.83. From the category of off-street parking, $1,250. Cemetery maintenance, $1,800. From the category of central garage, $64.92. From public safety, $129.83, safety inspection, $5,875. That was for elevator inspections. Recreation administration, $379.83. From parks, $250. From the category of adult programs, $8,684. From the pool, $1,540. From youth programs, $6,177.40. From the category of general repairs, $1,886.62. From highway machinery, $6,198.30. Kensico capital projects, $4,305.35. From the category of Mount Pleasant Consolidated Sewer District, $5,101.93. From the Joint Water District Fund, $6,347.77. From Old Hill Water District,
Old Farm.
I'm sorry, correction, Old Farm Hill Water District, thank you, $192.25. From the Mechanical Water District Number 1, $29,858.72. From Kensico Water, $3,665.11. From Trust and Agency Escrow, $7,425. From Gifts and Donations Youth, $66.21. The grand total for this month is $91,717.90. I move for approval of these expenses, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Danielle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks so much. Mr. Supervisor, the second item is authorization for budgetary transfers. I'm not going to read them all. These are just standard, basic accounting transfers that incur in the daily function of government, and they're available in the Controller's office. I move for approval of these budgetary transfers, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second. Take it, Lori.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks. Have a great Thanksgiving, and thanks for coming out tonight. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Councilwoman Zaino, I think looks like you're off tonight.
I'm off tonight, but I would like to thank those who came out to voice your opinions, and I'd like to wish all of you a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Councilman Saraceno.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Good evening, everybody. Residents, fellow board members, Lady Clerk, Miss Comptroller, thank you for being here, and our department heads, thank you, and the residents, thank you. I will start with, out of the Highway Department, Resolution 442-25. Oh, and the Secretary to the Supervisor, I apologize. Thank you for being here as well on your day off. Anyway, 442-25, out of the Highway Superintendent, the work performed under the following curb cut permit has been completed. As such, this is an authorization to release the bond for permit number 1511. The amount of the bond was $540. Resident name Daniel Blaze, 254 Myrtle Avenue, Hawthorne. Move for approval.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. By the way, she's never off.
Yes. Might be our only 24/7. Next up is an additional authorization for a curb cut permit bond release. This one in the amount of $720. Curb cut permit number 1513 to Charles Alfano at 15 Greenwood Lane, Valhalla. With that, I make a motion to approve Resolution 443-25.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Councilwoman Smalley, looks like
I'm off the hook tonight, too. How about that? But I'd like to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone in the town of Mount Pleasant. Enjoy your families. Be safe out there. Thank you.
Town Attorney, I do not believe we have anything.
Nothing more.
Our scheduled meetings are work session Tuesday, December 2nd, 7 p.m. Business session Tuesday, December 9th at 7 p.m. Being no further business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Mark. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your
Thank you very
input.
much.
Good night, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving to all.